Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. This Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County is now in session. The Honorable Judge Nushin Safety presiding. All persons having business before this court, come nigh and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America and this honorable court.
Thank you, Larry. Good afternoon, family, friends, here and in the overflow rooms and on our YouTube channel with us virtually. Welcome to the investiture of the Honorable Javier Enriquez as County Court Judge of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida. Please remain standing as we ask a very special guest to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Judge Enriquez's friend, Waldo Toyos.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, as we continue to remain standing, please welcome Father Omar Huesca of the Archdiocese of Miami, Judge Enriquez's also friend.
From the book of the prophet Micah. With what shall I come before the Lord and bow before God Most High? Shall I come before him with holocausts, with calves that are a yearling? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with myriad streams of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my crime, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? You have been told, O man, what is good and what the Lord requires of you. Only to do the right and to love goodness and to walk humbly with your God. Father God, we give you praise and thanks for all your many blessings. Today we give you thanks for your son Javier, and we ask you to extend your mighty hand and put it upon his head and guide him in all that he does, especially as he renders justice and equity. We ask you, Lord, to bless his family and to fill him with joy and strength. For you are God, and we praise and worship you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto ages of ages. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And if everyone please be seated. On this most special of days, we have some special guests who've joined us. Many of them are here in person. Some of them, I believe, are in the overflow room, and there's a whole lot of people with us virtually. I want to say please stand as I call your name, but there's a lot of them. So I'm also going to ask you to hold your applause to the end. I know you're not going to listen to that, but just brace yourselves because there's a whole lot of people here. And to those of you who are here in person, thank you. To those of you that are with us virtually, thank you so much. We have, first and certainly not foremost, but I want to say foremost, former Congresswoman Ileana Ross-Layton. From the Department of Homeland Security, we have Pedro Allende, who's the former Deputy Assistant Secretary. Jesse Panuccio, who's the former U.S. Acting Attorney General and also former General Counsel to Governor Rick Scott. From Senator Rick Scott's office, we have Christine Del Portillo, South Florida Regional Director. Dexter Leighton, that's Ileana's husband, for those of you that don't know, but also former U.S. Attorney and former State Senator and State Rep. Former Senator Miguel Diaz de la Portilla in the Florida Senate, and also Eric Friesen, former State Representative. Carlos Lopez Quintera, former Lieutenant Governor. Colin Ernst, former General Counsel to Governor DeSantis. Jason Gonzalez, former General Counsel also to the Governor. Maureen Farino, Deputy General Counsel currently to Governor DeSantis. David Axelman, General Counsel for the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Stasi Koumoutsas, I should say Anastasios, but I know him, so I can call him Stasi, General Counsel for the Florida Department of Education. Chad Popple, former Secretary for the Florida Department of Children and Families. Rayanne Bacchus, Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Florida Department of Children and Families. Andrew McKinley, Acting General Counsel for the Florida Department of Children and Families. David Micah, former Chief of Staff for the Florida Department of Children and Families. I should have said DCF from the beginning, and then I wouldn't have had to repeat myself all this time. Jason Kemper, Chief Quality Officer for the Florida Department of Children and Families. DeMonica Smith, Director of Domestic Violence Services for the Florida Department of Children and Families. Michael Wickersheim. That was written down here, so I'm going to presume it's okay that he and I are we're comfortable like that now. Chief of Staff from the Florida Department of Elder Affairs. Francis Carbone, General Counsel for the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. Commissioner Renee Garcia from right down the street, Miami-Dade County Commission. Jerry Bonzon-Keenan, County Attorney for Miami-Dade County. City of Miami Attorney, Vicki Mendez. Mayor of Coral Gables, Vincent Lago. Jorge Abreu on behalf of Commissioner Keone McGee from the Miami-Dade County Commission. From the City of West Miami, we have Vice Mayor Eric Diaz-Padrón. And from the town of Miami Lakes, we have Council Member Josh Diegas. We have, I don't even know if I need to announce him anymore because he's here all the time. Clearly one of us, Justice John Coriel from the Florida Supreme Court. From the District Court of Appeal, we have Judge Fleur Labrie. From formerly of the 3rd District Court of Appeal, former Chief Judge Frank Shepard. From the 3rd District Court of Appeal, Judge Monica Gordo. From the 4th District Court of Appeal, I see him in the audience, Judge Ed Artow. Ed, you weren't on my list, but I saw you, so I want some credit for that. Dax Bello, immediate past president of the Cuban American Bar Association. Sabrina Puglisi, here is president of the Miami-Dade Bar Association. Mariella Halfeld, member of the Florida Association for Women Lawyers, Miami-Dade chapter. Edward Blumberg, past president of the Florida Bar. Nakia Ruffin, president of the Gwyneth Cherry Black Women Lawyers Association. I'm not done yet. Trelvis Randolph, president of the Wilkie D. Ferguson Jr. Bar Association. Harut Samra, member of the Florida Supreme Court Judicial Nominating Commission. Miranda Soto, chair of the 11th Judicial Circuit Nominating Commission. Dean Anthony Page from FIU College of Law. Nell Jessup Newton, the new dean of the University of Miami School of Law. Janet Stearns, dean of students from the University of Miami. Richard Cooper, executive director of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities. Sonia Castro, the director of governmental affairs for the South Florida PBA, Police Benevolent Association, and she's here on behalf of Stead and Stahl, the president. Mario Alonso, chief operating officer for Citrus Health. Mario Hardone, president and chief executive officer of Citrus Health. Esther Jacobo, director of Citrus Family Care Network. Brian Delburn, government relations director of Tenet Healthcare. And Antonio Nardo, presidente del órgano oficial del municipio del Bauta en el Exilio. I'm not going to lie to you all, I did practice that one last night. 28 years and the gringa is still a gringa, but she's trying. So thank you all. If anyone I forgot, please let Eunice know, or one of my colleagues, I'm sure my phone's going to start blowing up with all the people I forgot. It's text. I'm getting texts as we speak. Robert Fernandez is here. Rob Fernandez from the 11th Judicial Circuit Judicial Nominating Commission. And where is he? Is he really here? There he is. He doesn't want to be singled out. Rob, I should have seen you. Thank you for being here, Mr. Fernandez. All right, so without further ado, for remarks on behalf of the Florida Bar, we have past president, esteemed attorney, and close family friend of Judge Enriquez. Please welcome Ed Blumberg.
Well, may it please the court. Thank you. You know, it seems like yesterday, but it was 25 years ago that I came home from work one afternoon, and my children had some of their classmates at home doing a school project, and that was fine. And after a while, one of the classmates came up to me and introduced himself. And he said, "Hi, my name's Javier Enriquez, and I understand you're a lawyer." And I said, "Well, yes, that's true." And he said to me, "You know, one day I'm going to be a lawyer too." And I said, well, that's interesting. Well, tell me, why is it that that's what you want to do?" And he looked me right in the eye, and he said, "Because I believe in right and wrong, and I want to help people." And I said, "Well, that's very good." And so we talked for a while, and afterwards I said to him, "Well, you know, it's mighty nice to meet you, and I hope I get to see you in court one day." Well, later that evening, I went upstairs to say goodnight to our kids, and I said to them, "You know, you're going to meet a lot of people in your life. Some of them are good, and some of them are not so good. But Javier Enriquez has a true essence, and he's one of that 1/10 of 1% of the people in the world that make it all worthwhile. And I'd like you to promise me that you will stay friends with him." And I want you to actually emulate, copy him. And so they said okay. And I'm proud to say it's probably one of the few times they actually listened to me and took my advice. But they did remain friends with Javier Enriquez. And so I got the privilege of watching him and observing him over the years. At Gulliver Academy, Javier Enriquez broke the record for community service hours. At Gulliver Prep, he was the star of the moot court program that they had in that school. He flew through the University of Miami, got a master's degree in public administration, and in law school excelled. And actually, in law school, he was one of the justices on the Supreme Court of the Student Bar Association. And when he went into private practice, it was no surprise that he and his partner, sitting over here, devoted themselves in large part to family law, helping families in crisis. And so we are so lucky here in Miami-Dade County to now have the talent and the skill of Judge Enriquez, where he will rule fairly and without fear and without favor. You know, coming in, I had the privilege of seeing Javier Enriquez's mother, and I see you sitting over there, Martha. Martha, I know how hard you've worked over these years. Martha is a single mom, and I know the sacrifices that you have made for your son, and it has all been worthwhile, and you're to be congratulated. Will you stand up, please, and let us recognize you.
Owe it all to them for their support. Thank you.
You know what? I'm sure you know, Martha, this is not going to be the last investiture that we're going to be at for Judge Enriquez. He's going to have a stellar career on the judiciary. Thank you. Thank you. Well, finally, I've got the privilege here of appearing on behalf of the Florida Bar, which, as you all know, is all the lawyers and all the judges in the state of Florida. And Javier Enriquez, they got to know him. He was the general counsel of the Department of Children and Family Services in the state of Florida, which is a huge undertaking, by the way. And when he took that job, to share this with you, we spoke about it at a Florida Bar meeting, actually up in Boca Raton. And I said, Javier, how are you going to do this? I mean, this is such a tremendous job, and historically, it's been difficult, and it's such a big responsibility. You're going to be supervising hundreds of lawyers, and this particular agency usually kind of gets a bad rap. It's such a big responsibility. And he said he'd figured it out. What he was going to do was not just sit in the office and supervise. He was actually going to get on the road and try cases and lead by example. And that's what he did. He tried cases a lot, from Pensacola down to Key West, conducted hearings, and really set the bar. So I would say that the years that Javier Enriquez was general counsel of that very large agency were the best years that agency's had in recent memory. So now, but it didn't go unnoticed by the Florida Bar. The Florida Bar is headquartered right up there near the Florida Supreme Court, right near the Capitol. And so they got to know and love Javier Enriquez. They like his style. He's not braggadocious when he gets the job done. And so the Florida Bar does not present gifts to the incoming trial court judges. There's just so many in the state that it just would be cost prohibitive. But they're making an exception because of Javier Enriquez, and they've authorized me today to present to Judge Enriquez a gavel, and it's inscribed with today's date of this investiture, so he'll remember it, always have it on his desk. And the gavel, as you all know, symbolizes the importance of the judiciary, which is the guardian of the United States Constitution, our Bill of Rights, the state of Florida Constitution, and the rule of law, and the glue that holds our democracy together. And so it's with great pride that we present this and congratulate Judge Javier Enriquez.
Okay, Florida Bar, the rest of these judges are feeling a little left down. None of the rest of us have that nice gavel. Anyway, for further introductions, we have also on our members of our court family that we could not function without. Here, Carlos Martinez, our public defender. On behalf of Catherine Fernandez-Rundle, our state attorney, we have her number one chief deputy, everything and above, Don Horn. On behalf of our regional counsel, Jean Zanobi, we have Greg Gonzalez. And on behalf of Harvey Reven, our clerk of courts, we have Director Doreen Ruggiero. I believe Doreen's with us virtually. Finally, supporting our day-to-day court operations with their expertise and wisdom. We are nothing without them, representing just everything that supports us, over 500 people. Our trial court administrator, fearless leader Sandy Lonergan. And our general counsel, Pat Gladson. The incredible AV teams and our IT teams that have kept these investitures going and make it possible for all of our for the overflow room, but it also make it possible for us to be able to share this with people far and wide virtually. And then, of course, Eunice Sigler, our public information officer, and Marissa Gavica, her deputy, the cruise directors and wedding planners of all investitures. And now for remarks on behalf of the Miami-Dade Bar Association, we have the president of the organization, distinguished attorney. Please welcome Sabrina Puglisi.
Chief Judge Safey, Judge Enriquez, judges, family, and friends. I think that everyone would probably agree who knows Javier Enriquez that he is an overachiever. He was born and raised in Miami, went to Gulliver his whole life, and got a double major in college in 3 years, and decided, hey, I'll take the next year and get a master's degree. And then he decided to go to law school. There's no question that he's brilliant and hardworking. Everyone will say that. But what some may not know is that he is also compassionate, kind, and giving. So kind and giving that after Hurricane Katrina, he traveled to New Orleans and donated many hours to helping those in need. I spoke to his good friend and former colleague, Ray Raful, who said that Javier is one of the most compassionate people that you will ever meet. He is sincere, easygoing, caring, loves helping others, and passionate about public service. He's the kind of person that you could go have a drink with and have fun, but he's also the kind of person that you could call on in a time of need when you just need to have somebody to listen to you as a friend and get some advice. Spencer Pinkney, his good friend since the second grade, said, "A great memory I have of him is actually an inside joke. When we were younger, we used to always say to each other, 'Don't trust anyone.' It was something we repeated to each other all the time jokingly, but also in a protective way. We always looked out for one another when we were younger and navigating young adulthood. Coming from someone who has trust issues, Javi's friendship means a lot to me. I consider him my brother. Through his loyalty and trust over many years, he has given me hope every day, knowing that with discernment and faith, you really can trust others." And even though Judge Enriquez spent time in private practice, he always had a passion for public service. And so that's when he became general counsel to DCF. And Judge Robert Watson, his now colleague, says, "I first saw Javier in action when he was general counsel for the Florida Department of Children and Families. It was evident that he took his job seriously, worked very hard, and cared about doing the right thing, what the law required. Now, as a judicial colleague, I have observed him continue to exhibit those traits, seeking out materials to help him be prepared for things such as jury selection and sentencing, as well as showing the humility to confer about legal issues or other aspects of the job that are new to him." Recently, when I was talking to Judge Enriquez, he told me about a case that he presided over, and it was a homeless man who was more concerned about the fact that he wouldn't have a home or a roof over his head that night to sleep for him and his wife. And although it is not his job, Judge Enriquez took the afternoon, spent hours, and he found a roof over the head for that man and his wife, who were so very grateful to him. And he did this, again, not because it's his job, but because that is the kind of person that he is, the kind of judge that he wants to be, kind, giving, and compassionate. And so Miami-Dade County is so very lucky to have this individual, Judge Javier Enriquez, on the bench. And so it is my honor, on behalf of the Miami-Dade Bar Association as president, to bestow this Bible on Judge Javier Enriquez.
And we have some more gifts for Judge Enriquez to commemorate this special day, although none of them as nice as that gal from the Florida Bar. You have your desk plate from the Conference of County Court Judges. You have a beautiful plaque from the Cuban American Bar Association, and you have a gift. I haven't looked at it, so I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's wonderful, from the city of Miami. And with that, I'd like now to introduce, for personal remarks on behalf of the judges, family, and friends, please welcome Attorney Robert Jeffrey, a friend and former law partner of Judge Enriquez.
Thank you all. It's truly with great pride that I stand before you all today to introduce my good friend Javier Enriquez as a county court judge. Javier and I have been through so much together, it was really hard for me to pin down what to start with here today. We started off as associates at the same firm many years ago, went on to become law partners. We've traveled, we've grieved the deaths of loved ones, tried cases, smoked many a cigar, and eaten many a lechon. And we stood before the Supreme Court of the United States together for Javier's admission. One thing that I can tell you about Javier that you might not already know is that he was the most selfless person I ever met, right up until he scheduled this investiture in front of my most esteemed colleagues today on my birthday. Thanks, Javier. He's really always trying to one-up me. So, what he didn't think about is that only one of us can stand up here and shamelessly solicit contributions today. So I didn't bring you a gift, Javier, but I'll be setting up a table at your reception. Anyways, about Javier. What Javier's accomplished by the age of 32 is truly incredible. It's a testament to who he is as a man. His greatest accomplishment, of course, talking me into quitting a great job and starting a law firm with him, until not really that long later, the siren song of public service called his name and lured him away to Tallahassee. At the age of 29, Javi was appointed general counsel at Florida's Department of Children and Families. Secretary Popple is best suited to speak to that time of Javier's career, but suffice it to say that this bold appointment by Governor DeSantis undoubtedly benefited Florida's children and the department for the last few years. It's truly a thankless job. And I know that he did it for one reason. It wasn't the pay. The Javier that I know did it to fight for children without voices and to follow the law in furtherance of causes that he knew were right, regardless of external pressures. Still, as he always has since he's a child, Javier found the time to donate countless hours to philanthropic endeavors, community organizations, toy drives, turkey giveaways, and an unparalleled dedication to our local community. When others complain about not having enough time, Javier finds it. There's no doubt in my mind that as he enters this next phase in his life, he does so with equally noble goals and mission. The Daily Business Review recently wrote that Javier raised his family in South Florida. This is a truly hilarious thought to me, given that Javier is a single 32-year-old man who wears a robe to work and has a 120-pound rambunctious son named Peanut, his golden retriever. The truth is that South Florida raised Javier. Javier's a family man and truly a man of his community. Javier's aunt, Miriam Gomez, who's with us here today, came over from Cuba alone at the age of 15 in 1962 with nothing but courage and the help of the Catholic Church. Javier's grandmother, Mercedes Gomez, and mother, Martha Enriquez, also with us, came over later that year on the last freedom flight before the Cuban Missile Crisis. Javier's grandfather, Mario Gomez, who would be so proud of Javier today, came to the United States on a raft the very next year, risking his life to flee communism and join his family. Javier's close bond with his grandfather, may he rest in peace, and his grandmother, who built and lived the American dream, developed Javier's dreams, his drive, and his love and appreciation for the United States and the state of Florida. Javier's mother, who's a wonderful, dedicated, hardworking paralegal of over 40 years, and who is like family to my wife, Courtney, and I, taught him work ethic, empathy, and that everyone deserves to be treated with respect. Also, her caja china on Noche Buena is to die for. So, many of you in this room have had the privilege of knowing Javier longer than I have, or have just gotten to know him, have fueled his passion as a student and practitioner of the law, and a fan of good debate. As a family law attorney whose clients' lives are constantly affected by bench trials, I know what I look for in a good judge. We need judges with empathy and a respect for their role and for the law. We need judges who bolster the public's confidence in our judiciary. We need judges who don't start with a desired outcome and figure out how to get there, but start with the law and apply it dutifully, and recognize that their fundamentally important role in our republic means that they must always apply the law as written and not create it as desired. Javier is everything that a practicing lawyer or a member of the general public could ask for in a jurist. I cannot be more proud of my friend and brother. but also of a community that ensures the growth, development, and appointment or election of judges just like him and others in this room. Congratulations, Javi.
Happy birthday, Mr. Jeffrey. And now for further personal remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends, please welcome former Secretary of the Florida Department of Children and Families and friend and former boss of Judge Enriquez, Chad Popple.
Good afternoon. Whenever I had a new friend or started dating someone new, my dad always asked me a question, because he didn't care how they looked, what they did for a living, or anything like that. What's their heart like? And I don't think I actually have to turn around. I'm quite sure Javier is weeping.
He's been weeping for a while.
So I want to start there. When we started as a new team at DCF, the key members of the leadership team, we actually sat down and talked about we only wanted to be in these roles so long as we felt the weight of what we were doing. Whenever a case came up or an issue came in front of us, it could never be just another case, just another decision. We're making decisions on a day-to-day basis on whether or not to separate a child from their parents, or if a parent had rehabilitated themselves to the point where we felt safe to put a child back with them. And I can tell you, not knowing Javier when he started, and I'll talk about that in a minute, whenever you're really stressed out and there's a ton of pressure on you, and you look up and your general counsel is weeping, looking at a case, it gave me great comfort to know that we were going to make the right decision. We can't guarantee outcomes, but our hearts were going to be in the right place when we were making those decisions. And so, Javier, I would like to ask everyone just to applaud the fact that you feel your work and you are truly a compassionate man. So now I'm going to make fun of you for just a minute. All right. So when you're a secretary, a new secretary, you go in and you have to fill some key roles. And so the general counsel spot was open, and it was already covered quite eloquently. It's a very big job. Over 500 attorneys around the state, in addition to the other legal matters. Very weighty stuff. And so I didn't know Javier, but his name was on the top of the list. And so we set up an interview, the chief of staff and I. And so he pulls up to the agency in a car that costs more than my house. He jumps out, and he's very young. He's very young. And so, I mean, honest, if I'm being honest, and he knows this, I say, whoa, I don't know about this. So we sat down for the interview. His credentials were obviously impeccable. What came out in the interview was he had a true commitment to justice. And more importantly to me, he had an adherence to the law. He wasn't going to go out on his own and make decisions he thought was right. He was going to be faithful to the law. The interview was quite impressive, and obviously from the people in this room that backed him and gave him references, he was a very impressive candidate. So we signed on to Javier. We were on Team Javier. And I got to also second what was said earlier. It was a very successful time. Very quickly, I started getting phone calls from people in and around DCF orbit like, hey, who's this guy? What are you doing? And I'd pull Javier in, and Javier's a fighter, so I hope you all know that. He fights for what's right. He didn't care about status quo. He pushed. In fact, my initial reaction in the beginning was try to restrain Javier. But over time, I soon began to learn to trust his instincts and his judgment. And I want to highlight one of his big accomplishments that you guys are probably aware of. There was a nonprofit, I think located down here, that was misusing significant funding from the state. I think it was well chronicled in the Miami Herald. That had been an ongoing problem for several years. And as a new secretary, I'm coming in, and this is an old problem that's kind of there. But Javier started looking into it, and he just kept showing up at my door. hey, something's not right. Something's not right. Something's not right. And he kept pushing. And it's like, all right. And so we turned Javier loose. He recruited some legislative support from some key members in the Miami delegation. And one thing led to another. And before we knew it, we had uncovered the misspending of millions of dollars that were dedicated to domestic violence, victims of domestic violence. That would not have happened without the persistence and the fight of Javier Enriquez. So I, again, will ask for a round of applause for you, sir. I can comfortably say I know he's going to be faced with difficult decisions. I can't imagine he's going to be faced with decisions that have more weight and pressure on him than he faced at DCF. I'm very confident that he's going to be able to faithfully deliver his charge as judge. But I wanted to pivot for just a second and talk about Javier because he became a friend. And more importantly to me, he became a Christian brother. A year ago, he helped start a Bible study. In this Bible study, we thought we'd do something a little different and go through the Bible, but focus on the government characters in each of the biblical accounts. So if you think, all the way back to Joseph and Daniel, etc., but going through the Bible with a focus on, hey, what's the government person supposed to be doing here? And so we've done that for a year, and this is why I'm excited about him being a judge. And actually, I think it probably happened for a reason. Two things jump out in every story. It's quite consistent throughout the Bible. One, God knows who he's given authority to. He knows and he cares about it. And two, those with authority will be accountable for how justly they use it. And so, brother, the Bible study sent you a scripture, so I'm going to read that real quick for you. Zechariah 7, 9, and 10. This is what the Lord Almighty said. Administer true justice. Show mercy and compassion to one another. Do not oppress the widow or the fatherless, the foreigner or the poor. Do not plot evil against each other. I'll just close with saying I can't think of someone more prepared with a better heart to be judged than Javier Enriquez. Thank you for your time.
You could actually stay down there. Now for the oath of office and robing, we welcome back to your new home, Justice John Coryell from the Florida Supreme Court. And very proud mama, Martha Enriquez, the judge's mother.
One moment of personal privilege. I am so very proud of you today. It can get lonely up there, and it looks like you're sitting on a bench all by yourself. But I want you to remember that there are a lot of us, look behind you, and that you are not alone. You are joining a wonderful group of people who endeavor like you to do justice and love mercy and walk humbly with our God. So please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear.
I, Javier Enriquez, do solemnly swear
That I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States of America
the Constitution and government of the United States of America
and of the state of Florida.
and of the state of Florida,
That I am qualified to hold office
that I am qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state of Florida,
under the Constitution of the state of Florida,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of judge of the county court
the duties of judge of the county court
of the 11th Judicial Circuit of the state of Florida,
of the 11th Judicial Circuit of the state of Florida,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
one moment, stay down there, because I neglected. Everyone can please be seated, except for Judge Enriquez, stay right there. For presentation of the commission, we have here in person, and I'm sorry that I should have done this before, Maureen Freno from the Executive Office of the Governor's General Counsel.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Governor's Legal Office and Ryan Newman, I would like to congratulate Javier on this great honor. I am grateful to have had the opportunity to work with Javier when he was General Counsel at the Department of Children and Families. He is extremely hardworking, and anyone who knows him knows that he truly has a heart for public service. A fundamental part of our system of government is the written Constitution. The founders created 3 separate branches and assigned specific roles to each to ensure the rights of the American citizens. Javier understands the proper function that a judge plays in our system of government. He believes in the important but limited role of the judiciary, and I know he will be an excellent judge. We would like to thank Javier for his dedication in serving the people of Florida, and we are confident that he's going to do an excellent job serving the people of Miami. Congratulations again to Judge Enriquez.
Okay. It's going to take a second. I need a moment. I think Chad very eloquently articulated how I like to weep. But it's, I do feel emotion. I'm honored to be here with so many people. I'm humbled, quite frankly, to see so many people that have meant so much to me in different areas of my life all come together under one roof at this time. But I want everyone to know, because there's a lot of you here, that every single person in this room has contributed in considerable ways to the person I am today. And I would not be here but for you. So today, although everyone keeps telling me it's my day, it's really your day. And it's your day, Mom, too. I love you. So I want to start by thanking God Almighty for all the blessings bestowed on me throughout the course of my life. I want to profoundly thank my family, my friends, my Phi-Psi brothers who are here, my knights, collectively, because there's too many of you for me to thank individually right now, for your unwavering and unconditional support throughout my entire life. I want to specifically thank Governor Ron DeSantis for this appointment. It was a pleasure working for his administration. I'm directing all my comments for the governor to you, Maureen, for the past 3 years. It really was a pleasure. I thank you and your team, James Uthmeyer, Ryan Newman, Jason Gonzalez, Dan Norby, Joe Jaco, Colleen, Chris Spencer, even Chief Inspector General Melinda Miguel. We had a great time working with the entire team, quite frankly, and the trust they had in me was out of this world, and I appreciate that. I want to also especially thank the Judicial Nominating Commission. I see a lot of folks here: Chair Miranda Soto, Robert Fernandez, Bob Pardo, Hayden, George Master, Pedro, Jesus, and so many others who really placed some trust in me, and I hope to not let you down, ever. For those that have gone through this process, you know that this is not one that can be done alone. So I want to also thank several other people for their encouragement, moral support, spiritual, practical. Harut Samra, David Axelman, Stasi Kamustas, Sean Hogue, Eric Eves, even Texas Solicitor General Judd Stone, and more importantly, my DCF team. Oh, there we go. Hey, Rand. Thanks for joining us. I'm kidding. So, perfect timing, though, perfect timing. So I'm thanking my DCF team, Rayanne J. Vakis, who's the Deputy Assistant Secretary now, Chad Popple. It was a pleasure working with you. It really was. You taught us so much. And the fact that back row with Wiki and David and DeMonica and Jessica, 5 of us, well, 6 of us are here, means something. That even though all the paths have gone different directions, we still care about each other deeply. And what we went through those 3 years or so were difficult, but strengthening for the soul and for everything we've done. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you to my friend and Florida Supreme Court Justice John Coriel for swearing me in today. Noting the parallels of our 114 race, I aspire to serve the community with the same dignity, integrity, dedication, and work ethic you demonstrate every day. So I appreciate that. Thank you to all the 3rd DCA and 4th DCA judges who are also here. I'm honored by your presence today. To the former Lieutenant Governor, Carlos Lopez Quintero, thank you, sir, for your friendship and your words of wisdom and all the support throughout the years. It's meant a lot to me. To my former law partner, happy birthday. Thanks for, you moved me into the Supreme Court for admission to the Supreme Court of the United States, and there's nobody better to speak to here today, and I appreciate you doing that. Even though it's your birthday, and for being quite a supportive rock, along with Dolly and Ray throughout the course of my professional career. Mr. Blumberg, thank you so much for the kind words. You were you weren't the first one to get me crying, but definitely your kind words and your recognition of my mom meant a lot to me and my family. And thank you for the very kind gift on behalf of the Florida Bar. That's meant a lot. Sabrina, thank you. I figured I was actually kind of scared what they were going to tell you, but I'm glad that it was a good story then. I appreciate you speaking today. To all the former and current elected officials here today, thank you for your service to our community. And to Congresswoman Ilana Russ-Layton, she's not here right now, but she'll be joining us, I believe, in a little while. And she turbocharged my passion for public service when I was in college. So I thank her tremendously for her support. Special thank you to all my colleagues who are here today. Past Chief Judge Birdie, to you, Lucian, thank you so much for everything. It's meant a lot. Thank you, Judge Kelly, Judge Faber, for welcoming me in with open arms. It's meant a great deal to me. Thank you very much. To those in the audience who well, hold on, before I get there. Also to my day-to-day team, and this is very important, because these are the people who I work with every single day, and but for them, I could not do what I do. So to Tim, Stefania, Cece, Jordan, Jada, everybody, honestly, who's in court with me every day, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to work alongside you for the past few months. Thank you for everything you do. Now to those who are here in the academic field. I see Francis. Good to see you, Francis. I don't know if Christina Frohock's here, Dr. Frohock, but I do see Senor Montero, who's also his birthday today. Mr. Montero was my high school Spanish teacher. And thank you. Not only one for being here today on your birthday, but also for instilling me with creativity, patience, responsibility, and respect, above all else. But more importantly, for helping foster independent thought, even where we may have disagreed. So to the deans of the schools that are here present, I appreciate you being here. I commend you for the hard work you do heading up world-renowned institutions in the pursuit of academic excellence. But I do offer to you, to all the educators, to continue this perpetual challenge, to continue fostering independent thought, and to provide forums for civilized discourse and debate. That's how we grow as a society. So please continue to do that. During my time here, I've had the honor to preside over the M90 Homeless Division and certain mental health calendars. And I want to thank Judge Leifman and the whole mental health team in the clerks of courts and down here in this community for what they do is so important. Being able to set up defendants with community-based resources and alternative outpatient treatments options has a quantifiable impact on crime in Miami-Dade County. And it's because of the work you do, not only here, but around the state, and quite frankly, around the country. So thank you for what you do. As I have transitioned from trial practice, where you're kind of in the trenches of the law, I am ever aware of what is expected of us as judges. Impartiality, independence, collegiality, professionalism, and courage. But above all else, respect for the rule of law. I take the bench respectful of the separation of powers, and with a clear understanding that it is the legislative body and not the judiciary that is responsible for writing new laws. Nor is it our prerogative or role as judges to alter the work of the people's representatives, but rather to apply it. I have heard it said before that a judge who likes every outcome he reaches is likely a bad judge. And that's because that's the judge who's stretching for results he prefers rather than those that the law demands. In my courtroom, I do pledge to be fair, impartial, and consistent in the application of the law and to faithfully carry out my oath as I just gave it. As I conclude, to my community, standing here in this historic courtroom, I am humbled by the trust placed in me by the governor of the great state of Florida and pledge that I will do all my powers permit to be a faithful servant of the Constitution, the laws of this nation, and the state, ever mindful that to whom much is given, much will be expected. Thank you for this great honor, and cheers, everyone. Thank you very much for being here.
So he was actually crying back there before we even came in the door. Those of you who know me know I'm a crier, and I think anytime I have to look at somebody's mom, it sends me over the edge, so I've been like very specifically trying to avoid looking at his mom. I first had the opportunity to meet Javi just, I think about it, at the beginning of COVID, and actually maybe once right before. I was the administrative judge of the criminal division. On one occasion, I think you were calling me to give me the heads up that there was going to be a writ on one of my judges. That was a fun conversation. And he was very professional, really easygoing and smart, and that was something that I noticed right away. Sometime later, COVID happens, and I believe we were in a Zoom meeting, and I met Javi kind of the way we all meet each other these days, right? Little Zoom square. And again, like intelligent and thoughtful and just calm. And it was in the middle of us worrying about how we were going to be transporting defendants that are incompetent to the hospitals. And it's not an easy issue. All of you from DCF know that now if I ever have that issue, I'm just going to have Javi call y'all and get it fixed. But again, like I was really super impressed with him. And then I met him in person as he was actually applying for the job. And I remember looking at him being like, oh my God, how old are you? And he had the beard and stuff, but I have 22-year-old twin boys that can grow really good beards, so the beard wasn't fooling me. I'm like, how old are you? And he's honestly, like, I hate to say that, he's not typical of a guy who's 32, but he's really was so incredibly wise and humble for somebody of his age and someone who comes into this job at such a young age. And I think that all of us have heard stories about the judges, they come in, and there's 123 of us, so we feel special, and then I'm like, well, how special are we? There's another 123 of us. But a lot of people come into this job and forget that it's a privilege and an honor, and we are actually servants. So now, Mom, I'm going to look at you and say, I know as a mom that nothing makes you feel better. Their accomplishments are meaningful, but nothing makes you feel better than to hear that your children are good, that your child is good, and you have a really good boy. So, and that's not just going to be serving him well. It's not just going to be serving his colleagues well, but he's serving the county that he's grown up in so well. So thank you so much for what you've done and for who you raised, and congratulations. Welcome to the bench, Judge Enriquez. And for those of you that would like to greet the judge and his family, please come over to your right, and then you can exit out the back door. And court is in recess. On behalf of all the judges and staff of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida, we thank you so much for attending this investiture. All right, so these people over here are going to try to give you some quick hellos, and then. Yeah,